Yo guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another No Man's Sky video. In this video I'm going to be showing yet another method of how to make tons of money, but this method is going to show you how to make an infinite amount of money, and it's the most amount of money I've ever really covered on this video because it's an infinite amount of money. You can make as much money as you really want to make. To be honest, it's up to you how much money you want to make. The only thing you have to do is, as more money you want, the longer it's going to take. But without any further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so as I come in here, I'm just going to tell you about everything you need to do this method, because this method is probably the easiest and safest method in the whole game for making tons of money. So the only things you're really going to need is just a small base, a medium or a large refiner, some oxygen and some chlorine or salt. And let's begin. Okay, so here I am at my large refiner that's pointing towards the wall for some reason. But here I go, I put my oxygen in and I find my chlorine. And if you look at this ratio here, this means it's going to take 2 oxygen to get 6 chlorine and 1 bit of chlorine to get 6 chlorine. So I'm basically getting 6 times the chlorine and I'm only losing 2 oxygen in the process. So as you can see here, look how quickly I'm getting this. So as you can see, I have just over 1,000 chlorine here, and when I'm done it's gonna have 6 times the chlorine. And then what you can do is you can take the output of chlorine and then you put that back in the input, and then you just keep on going forever, or not forever, until you want to stop basically. And then you can keep on checking the value of the chlorine and deciding when you want to stop duplicating and when you want to go on to sell it. Now the reason why we're using chlorine is because chlorine is the most valuable refinable item in the game. It is 602 units per every piece of chlorine, and no other item really gets close to that sort of value, which is why I think if you're going to try this, you should really try it like as soon as possible before they possibly change it in the next update. I'm not saying they will, but I am saying that this method is incredibly, or it feels to me like a huge exploit. So I feel like they might change it or make it worse or something like that in the future. So I'd make sure you try and do it. But as you can see, ionized cobalt is 401 units each, which I think is the closest material in the game to chlorine, with 602, but still not 602, so we're going to use chlorine instead. Now if you want to use salt, then what you can do is just refine that, and then that will turn into chlorine. And then after that, all you're going to need is at least 1 bit of chlorine from that refined salt, and then you're good to go, because obviously because it gets you get 6 times as much chlorine when you pair it up with oxygen. You'll get thousands and thousands of chlorine extremely quickly, no matter how much salt or chlorine you start with. So that about is everything that I really need to say about this duplication method here. It is pretty easy to understand and even easier to do. So yeah, this batch here is worth 2.6 million units, and obviously you can get however much units you really want. All it depends on is how much oxygen you have and how much time you're willing to spend sitting there doing it, because you cannot just go AFK. You do still have to manually be taking the output and then putting it back into the input slot, so you can't just sit there and let it all do the magic for you. So you do have to, you can't go AFK is basically what I'm saying. But if you want to listen to some like music or something like that for however long you want, so maybe if you want to sit there for an hour, listen to your Spotify playlist or something like that, then you definitely can do that, and you can make millions. You can make tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions. It's all depending on how much oxygen you have, how much oxygen you can get, and how much time you're willing to spend. But yeah, that about does it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.